It's not about the pictures. It's not about the dress or the tux or whatever. Like, those are all cool and those are all fun and they're memories and you'll remember them forever. But that doesn't matter if the rest of the marriage is shit. It doesn't matter.
It's how we treat each other during the climb and during the hard times that's going to matter. And I think that that's the sign of a true relationship. And honestly, if you're not humble in your relationship will burn to the ground. That I'm going to say. Yeah, it's a dangerous game. It has to be bigger than you.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, for episode number 1859, it is Freestyle Friday. We took Freestyle Friday out of the title because the platforms are looking for search engine optimization, and Alan made me do it. I didn't want to do it. I was forced to do it. But I do think the new titles look crisp, as I say.
They do. They look good, man. Strong work.
Crisp. All right. Freestyle Friday. I had a thought. Okay? Might be a little bit of a controversial take.
Ooh.
I wanted to ask you a question. You can't use trust communication that. What do you think makes a relationship work? You can't use those two.
Okay, let me think. So two answers. The first one is, so I've been coaching intimate relationships for 4 years. We were just talking about that, which is wild to think about because a lot of this I anticipated. That I did not
anticipate. It's truly mind-blowing.
It is.
To think that you've been doing that for more than half of the time that we've been doing this does not compute. How is that even possible?
I know.
Doesn't make any sense.
And we've coached dozens of couples at this point. It really is. It compounds. It compounds. It was kind of running in the background, and it's just we've got a successful little business.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah. It all compounds. But to answer your question, and I'm saying this because I'm not just saying this. This is after hundreds of sessions with couples. So cool that I can say that. The first answer is humility, courage, and vulnerability.
I should have checked those right off. It's just that you can't say those either.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I call the triad of transformation: humility, courage, and vulnerability. And that's always my go-to, which is why Kev said, "Don't say that."
Yeah.
So that's my go-to. Always will be. It's just the truth. Check in with your humility, courage, and vulnerability. Check in with your partner's humility, courage, and vulnerability. Boom. Okay, that's number one. The other answer would be a metaphor I'm going to use. So we had Anthony Trucks come to our book club, and we're reading a book called Identity Shift by Anthony Trucks. It's how to level up how you operate by leveling up who you are, something like that. I think I butchered the tagline, but essentially in the book, he talks about this metaphor about computers, and I've talked about it on the show, but I like the iPhone analogy. I've been talking about that a lot. It's like, this is the iPhone Pro 14 Max. I think the 15's out or whatever, but this phone is infinitely more capable, exponentially more capable than the first iPhone that came out when you and I were seniors in high school. So when Kevin and I were seniors in high school, the 2007, the iPhone came out that year, and it was a revolutionary breakthrough, and now it's hot garbage compared to this iPhone. And so the answer to your question is each person in the relationship has to become much more capable. And we've talked about it before, the personal development set point. I'm Alan version 3.6 in November, and Emilia is Emilia version 3.0. And I always say this. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I need to say it. The Alan 3.0 could not have been with the Emilia 3.0 because the Emilia 3.0 was far more upgraded than Alan 3.0. Women tend to mature faster than men. They reflect more. They're more humble, I think, statistically. And so she matured faster than I did. And so the 3.6, 36-year-old version of Alan fits perfectly with her as a peer. But if she was 36 and I was 30, she'd be my freaking mentor. She would not be a partner. She would not be a peer. And so, yeah, I would say that is, how capable are you? Physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and how capable is your partner physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And the more you each become in the me, is the stronger the we will become. And that's the metaphor we use in our business. The business is called the we. And it's a pyramid where you have the two me's that make up the we, and the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. The whole should be greater than the sum of its parts.
Math.
You and I's relationship, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That's a great relationship, right? And I gotta stop saying right. Filler words bother me. If it's not the whole, everyone right now watching or listening to this, think of a relationship that the whole was not greater than the sum of its parts. I've got several coming up.
Same.
Yeah, that was not a mutually beneficial win-win scenario. It was a win-lose, and a win-lose eventually always becomes a lose-lose.
Strong work. Okay. There was a podcast that I had gone on. I was getting ready to go on, and I'm doing research, trying to figure out what the show's about and all that happy jazz. And my levels are jeffing, so I got to hold down my mic to do the thing like I do. Hold down my mouse here. Don't let that bother you. And I came across one of the guests, and then I was watching their content, and they are the relationship expert alpha male stereotype. And that's why I wanted to do an episode on relationships, because I think, I don't know, it's really easy for somebody to say that they know how to operate in a relationship when you never get to hear from their partner. And again, I guess I could be lumped into that because Taryn's not jumping on the mics with me anytime soon. But how do I know that you really know what you're talking about based on the fact that most of what you say is very clickbaity and meant to be controversial? I was thinking if I could just say one word that makes relationships work, it would be significance. You as a partner are focused on making sure that your partner feels significant in the ways that make them feel significant, and vice versa, as long as it's healthy and as long as it's constructive and as long as it's sustainable. Because what a lot of people say is it's not... There are some people out there that would say, me going out of my way to make Taryn feel good when she's not feeling good is not a good thing. In what world is that not a good thing? Now, is there too much alleviation of pressure? Sure. Does that mean I should do everything for my partner and they should never experience life? No, I'm not saying that. But in what world is it not commendable, even if we were using our business relationship, for me to say, Alan's having a really bad day, I'm going to go above and beyond to make sure Alan, his day gets a little bit easier. And I just think there's stuff out there that says that's bad, and there's stuff out there that says that makes you weak as a partner. And I just think there's so much garbage in content out there right now. And I think the reason is a lot of people are trying to be different than everybody else. So if I said something the other day on a podcast, I said, I know this isn't sexy, and I know this isn't going to make us go viral when I give this advice, but it's do the smallest thing humanly possible. That's the advice I'd give anybody. Do the next smallest thing humanly possible to build belief. It's really hard to build a brand on that message. But yeah, I've just been thinking a lot about relationships and how much terrible advice there is out there. Got me fired up.
One of the things that came up, and definitely your audio is doing something, but I also know my internet isn't great. We're out here doing it. And I think the production team is so good, they're going to make it awesome, so I feel good about that. That said, one thing that came up for me was Next Level University. I was talking to one of the team members earlier, Amy, shout out to Amy, and we have so many frameworks, and we've built so many different, even the humility, courage, vulnerability, triad of transformation. We have so much. We understand human beings. We understand ourselves. We've got so many cool self-belief, self-worth, so many cool frameworks to understand people, different types of people. And I was thinking about this earlier today or yesterday, the $100 habit thing. The $100 habit is a sexy, cool thing that we should be saying more. Because the short origin story of the $100 habit is Kev wasn't going to the gym. He gave Taryn, his wife, a $100 bill and said, rip this up in front of me if I don't go to the gym this week. And it worked so well, he went to the gym 7 days in a row and then decided to can that commitment device. That's called a commitment device. And the $100 habit, I think, is a sexy thing that could go viral. Habit tracking isn't sexy. The $100 habit idea is sexy. And so how can you and I start coupling something sexy that's really been something we've done and actually used that does work with the fact that we habit track? The $100 habit kind of reminds me of the 5-second rule kind of thing. It's a similar sort of, and that's okay. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a good bridge between sexy and unsexy.
Yeah. I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't know. There's just so many. I wish I had a really good example of something that was said, because this freaking audio. Just for the audience, this is what I'm doing. I have to, on my slider where it says recording level, I have to hold it at the same level the whole time. I can't move my hand or it'll Jeff. I wish I had a good example of what the person said, but it was just, there was just red flags. And again, am I a relationship expert? I don't know. No, I don't think so. I have a really good relationship, and my partner and I both take a lot of ownership for our stuff, and we're always working on getting better, and we have really vulnerable conversations and all of that stuff. We try to make sure we're meeting each other's needs. We do our best to never, ever, ever blame the other person for stuff that's going on in our own lives. I think all of those things are high percentage attributes of a successful relationship.
Definitely.
But I would never consider myself a relationship expert, but I just think there's a lot of garbage stuff out there. What did you used to think about relationships that you now know was completely false, based on your experience? Like 18-year-old Alan.
18-year-old Alan didn't know anything.
Well, think about it. With all the love in the world to anybody out there, if you haven't done work on yourself and if you haven't learned more about relationships, you might not be matured from the 18-year-old version of yourself in terms of relationships.
Yeah.
Maybe 25 is more realistic if you're later in life. 18's, we're pretty ignorant at 18, but.
Well, okay, let's give the 18 thing that I believed, mindset, whatever, awareness, and then I'll give 25, and then I'll give 35.
Let's do it.
All right, so 18, I think I thought, I don't know if I thought a ton about it. It wasn't a huge focus. I remember even just the prospect of being in a relationship with an attractive woman was a big deal for me. I was not sought after. Emilia and I joke. She was hot in high school. I was not. And so I would say I didn't have any freaking clue. Right. Other than I think, and then the other thing too, I want to share this, and again, this isn't about me, this is about the listener, but I didn't have any good modeling. My mom and stepdad didn't get along at freaking all. And I mean, that's a freaking hilarity to even say that. It's the most polite way I could possibly put it. And they didn't surround themselves with anyone who had a great relationship. Marriage scared the hell out of me because most of the people I saw, you don't even like each other, never mind love each other. Yeah. Holy crap. So I told myself, I don't know if I even want to get married, that kind of thing.
Same.
But I always wanted to be a father, so that was hard for me because if I want to be a father, then I'm going to need to figure this relationship thing out. And I always did want that. I really did. Yeah. Deep down, even if I didn't admit it when I was playing the I'm too cool for school. And then 25, it was beginning to be about growth. It was, we are a partner and we're on a team to achieve our dreams together. And then in my 35, it's full. It's entirely about an intimate relationship is about growth. Yeah. And if it's not, you're kind of in trouble in a way. And I'm not trying to be unkind. I'm not trying to be self-righteous. You are in trouble if you're not improving. You just are. Because the relationship can't improve unless the people in the relationship improve. That's like an iPhone that doesn't get better. It's like a house that doesn't get renovated. I mean, if you, Emilia's dad bought a car that was from way back, and I don't think you'd mind me sharing this. His grandparents had a specific car that he always loved when he was a kid, and he bought it, and it's an antique. It's from the 80s. I think it's like 1986. And you get in this freaking thing, and it's pretty cool in a way. And again, I'm not a big car guy, but I get it. And it was the same as my grandparents' car too. They had one similar, so it took me. I was like, oh my goodness. Last time I was in a car like this, I was a freaking child headed to Foxwoods with my grandparents. This is wild. But the car is a real piece of shit, to be completely honest, compared to the cars now, because technology has gotten so much better. Everything has improved. You know those. Back in the 80s, everybody smoked. Not everybody, but a large percentage of the population. You remember those things that you push and they get all red and hot?
Yeah, of course.
And you can light one up, Kev.
Mm-hmm.
Light up a clove like back in our day. Well, those are still in it. And there's ashtrays on every part of the car and all. Yeah. And I just remember thinking, this car it was one of the best cars at the time. This is a luxury freaking vehicle at the time. This car is hot garbage compared to my car. It's not even close. But my point is that's a metaphor for relationships, where if you don't have a relationship that's about growth, you're no matter what gonna have a really hard time having a great life, unless you're both stagnant. So go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, especially if one of you's into growth and the other one isn't, because you're gonna be dragging the other person all the time.
Yeah, and I've been there.
I've been on both sides. I've been on both sides, so I understand.
Well, I think maybe you should talk about that, because when you have goals and dreams, you have to grow. You don't really have a choice. You can't just achieve stuff without growing.
Yeah.
Even back when I was more goal-oriented than character-driven, I still had to grow and get smarter to achieve those things. When I rose in corporate and engineer and product manager also, I still needed to rise to the occasion. It's not like I could just hang out.
Yeah.
But I didn't grow myself as well as I would have liked. It was more improvement external rather than internal improvement. Mm-hmm. But even then, it was still about growth. And so I've always been so goal and dream oriented that I think in hindsight, it's very clear that the people who don't have goals and dreams that are very clear, that we're going to talk about in the next episode, they don't really have the necessity to grow and improve and change and innovate. And so, of course, you're going to kind of grow apart in that case. Goals and dreams are usually the catalyst for growth. No one just grows just to grow, usually.
Yeah.
So, for example, Taryn, when I first met her, I could tell her dream was to have the best relationship possible. That dream is what catalyzes most of her growth from my current understanding. And if that dream goes, there goes the growth. Everything else goes too. Yeah. So I don't think people understand the downside of aiming low, but there's 3 types of relationships. I'll go really quick with it. The first one is 2 people that are neither one of them is growing. The second one is both partners are growing and it's a challenge, but they're flourishing and fulfilled. And the third one is one partner's growing and the other isn't. And those are the ones that we coach, typically. Mm-hmm. Those are the people where the more growth-oriented partner usually brings the other person in because they feel like they need help. They need help. And sometimes they're humble and they take it in, and sometimes they say, F this dude. I'm out. Who is this guy, right? So... But I would ask you, because you've been on both ends of it. I've never been on the less growth-oriented end. And I know that sounds freaking arrogant, but it is the truth.
I have definitely been there.
Hello, NLU listener. Thank you, as always, for listening to Next Level University. Real quick, I just want to jump in and let you know about the Next Level Dreamliner. This is a journal that I use every single day. Achieve your dreams 90 days at a time. It breaks down your dreams into goals, milestones, and daily habits. We hope you enjoy it. The link will be in the show notes.
The thing that I used to think was once you acquired a relationship, that was it. You just have to get into a relationship. It's like a portal. You
The
ever see a
way
movie?
you think about finance is the same as the way you think about relationships.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, I
think it
figured
was-
we would just arrive.
I think it was like that for everything. Maybe except for fitness, because I had a lot of experience in fitness. I don't know. You watch a movie and they jump in a portal and then they go from one place to another. Nobody knows what happens in the portal. And that's kind of how relationships are. It's like you just get in and then you're successful at a relationship. No. I told Taryn this the other day. We were having a deep talk about something, and we were thinking about another couple that we know, I think. And I said, they're in trouble. They're in trouble.
Okay,
I can
love
feel it.
Talk to me.
Well,
All
let me
break down.
We'll go back. And I said, babe, I didn't care about getting married. And she like gave me the eyes. She's like, what do you mean? I said, well, no, I don't mean it like that. To me, the day after getting married was more important than the day of getting married.
Exactly.
Because it's forever. It's not about the day for me. Nothing really is. It's not about.
Yeah.
When I said I was going to treat you better than anybody else, I didn't mean on that day. I meant every day.
Forever.
That's my job. That's my goal. That's what I aspire to. It's not because we got married. It has nothing to do with it. It's because you're my person. I'm going to treat you as well as I possibly can. But I think other people, it's some other people, not other people. I don't mean everybody. You put a ring on it and then you're done. Just goal accomplished and then you're done. And that's not how it works. That's not how anything works. I'm convinced this is one of those misconceptions, and this is something I'll be saying a lot more. I am convinced one of the most common misconceptions is achieving the goal is harder than sustaining the goal. I don't believe that.
Yeah,
I don't believe that.
Agreed.
Because if that was the case, when you lost 10 pounds, you'd never gain it back. When you made the money you wanted to make, you'd never lose the money. It just wouldn't happen. When you attracted your
make more
dream
money.
partner, you'd
Yeah.
sustain it. I don't think any of that is real. How do I know? You can tell. You can tell when one person's not invested and they're not willing to remove their ego enough to improve the relationship. They don't think they should have to change.
Yeah.
That. When you don't
How
think-
arrogant is that?
It's
It
the
makes no
most.
sense. That's like going to your boss being like, no.
Well,
Nah.
but when you get a job, you know how to keep the job. So even that, I just think there's a lot of people out there that think, well, you signed up to be with me and we signed up to be together, and I thought that was it. I thought we were done. I thought once we did this together, we were done. But it's not. I think that's a heavy realization. It can be a very, very heavy realization. For me, I don't think marriage changed anything. I don't feel any different being married than, maybe I feel more on a team, but I knew I was going to marry Taryn when I reached out to her. I wasn't talking to her to talk to her. I was talking to her to marry her. That's what this was. That was the whole goal of this. But it's a heavy realization that you're living life with someone. And life inevitably has its ups and downs and challenges and triggers and those moments where you think, how the hell are we going to get through this? And then you sit with your partner and you figure it out. Or just external stuff. Work is super hard. This is super hard. But that's what marriage is about. Marriage isn't
is
about
how you treat each other during the storm.
100%. It's
How
not
do you
about
treat
the
each
wedding.
other through the hard. Yeah, exactly.
It's not about the pictures. It's not about the dress or the tux or whatever. Like, those are all cool and those are all fun and they're memories and you'll remember them forever. But that doesn't matter if the rest of the marriage is shit. It just doesn't matter. So that's my takeaway. Sorry, my apologies if I was off on this episode. My light's freaking out. I can't move my hand. I can't really move my body because there's a lot going on in Studio Day Kev right now, so my apologies if I was off in this episode, but I am honestly quadruple multitasking, and I have to look at the camera to make sure the levels are right. It's the whole thing.
Quadritasking.
Too much.
I think you killed it.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yeah, so I told Emilia what matters is how meaningful our day-to-day relationship is. What matters is how well we stay on a team, how well we protect each other's heart, and how much we help each other shine. I want to amplify who you are, not suppress it. And I made her 2 promises when I first asked her to be with me. I said, I promise you I will always help you shine as bright as humanly possible. And I've always kept that one. And I said I'd always protect your heart. And there was one freaking time when I didn't. And I was, my mom and my sister were getting into each other and fighting. And I was more focused on them than Emilia. Which I regret, to be honest. I should have been more focused on Emilia. And I'll never make that freaking mistake again. However, the point that I'm making is a lot of the people that I saw getting married, I've said this before, and I want to share it here because I want to be courageous. I sat Emilia down one time and I said, you know what's interesting? The two people who I think are the most ready for marriage are the ones that are rational enough to wait. And Emilia and I, we are intending. We're already talking about it. We're already talking about all of it. And I'm a hopeless romantic, so I'm going to surprise her. But we're talking about engagement. We're talking about marriage. We're talking about children. We're talking about how we want to parent. We're talking about how many children. We're talking about where we want to live. We're talking about homeschool versus public school. We're already preparing. We visioneer. We engineer our future. We have it all mapped out. Now, it's going to change. It's going to adapt. It's going to evolve as we do. But you're a team. You're on a team. And if it's about growth and maximizing the good in this world, and I tell her this all the time. I say, I don't want to be at the top of this mountain not in love. It's how we treat each other during the climb and during the hard times that's going to matter. And I think that that's the sign of a true relationship. And honestly, if you're not humble in your relationship will burn to the ground.
Yeah,
that
it's
I'm
dangerous.
Gonna say. Yeah, it's a dangerous game.
Dangerous.
You said
it's not
one
about
thing.
You. Oh, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Exactly. It's bigger than you. It has to be bigger than you. And the one thing I wanted to share, I don't know if... I know you, Kev. You'd be fine with me sharing this. I know why you'll win. When you said this, it really was fascinating. And I literally study intimate relationships. I've been coaching people. You can tell. And my job is to find the root causes of the bugs in the garden and smash them before they take the garden. That's my freaking job. It's what I do. Emilia better than me. When you said, I wouldn't even blame Taryn if she left me. This entrepreneurial journey is brutal. I said in my head, that's why he'll win. That's why.
I want what's best for, again, if there's somebody out there that would treat her better than I, then how would I ever get mad about that?
It's the lack of entitlement. That's what that tells me. The irony, the paradox, and I know the women listening out there will really resonate with this. The fact that you wouldn't blame her if she left you because of how hard this is, the entrepreneurial journey, being a business owner, all stuff, and the fact that you work 6 days a freaking week, every week, that shows that you're not entitled to her. You don't have an ownership. A lot of people, men in particular, statistically speaking, they feel like they own their partner. It's, well, you're my partner. It's not about you. They're still their own human being. And you suppress them, and they have to walk on eggshells, and it's an entitlement. It's like a spoiled brat syndrome, and it's so obvious that you don't have that. And because you don't have that, that's the paradox. I doubt Taryn would ever want to leave you because she's going to end up with some entitled dude.
I sure hope
right?
not. I sure hope not. And again, to me, it's just a fact of I want what's best. I want what's best, and I do believe I'm the best for her.
Yeah.
And if that ever changed, then that would be a serious conversation. Alan and I were talking about this. Alan said, dude, I wouldn't blame you if you left. If you woke up one day and said, dude, I don't know if I want to do this business thing anymore. Yeah. I think that's a mark of a really good relationship. Because you're not thinking just about you. I'm not thinking just about me. Now, would I be devastated? Of course. Jeez. Of course I would. That would be the worst thing ever of all time. I'm not saying it would be like, cool.
No, I actually think you'd regret it, but I still wouldn't blame you. That's the weird duality of the whole thing, you know.
Of course. Well, I'm saying both. I would regret. I think both of those would be devastating. Leaving NLU or my marriage not working out. Both of those would be very devastating.
But that's exactly what maturity is. It's you're not. That's exactly why you'll earn them, instead of. It's that paradox of I'm holding on and I'm earning my keep in this business. And in
I
this
don't want to get
relationship.
handed anything. I don't want to ride coattails. I don't want it just because I have it. I don't think any of that is. I don't want that.
In the
Having
real
something
world,
isn't enough. Like having it is. Having it, or I don't want to say even having it. Being a part of something is wonderful, but you have to earn your keep. You have to, and earning your keep means something different in everything. Right? In a relationship, maybe it's this, and growing and evolving and working on your weaknesses, and this, and in business or whatever, it's something else. But nobody really gets to ride for free. You got to put in something. You got to put in more than you're getting out. If you don't, that's another way a relationship's going to fail.
100%. In business, intimate relationship, friendship, that's the mentality. Very last thing.
Please,
If
because my
it's not
hand is going numb, actually.
I said very last thing 6 times. That's when you know I love the topic. The lack of entitlement, the earning it mentality. People say, well, I'm so grateful for my partner. Show me that.
Mm-mm.
I don't want to hear it. I want to see it. The effort, the time, the working on yourself. We say gratitudes 3 times a night, every freaking night. And if we miss, we do them the next day. And we haven't missed for freaking years.
Yep.
But I show her how much I am grateful for her, not just write it in my journal. And the moment that she stops feeling appreciated and valued is the moment she should start questioning it. That's the truth. If
That's
I'm
what I'm
taking her
saying.
for granted and I'm sloughing off and I'm getting wasted at the bar and
Sloughing off?
yeah,
What does that look like?
being lazy
So
and
slough off.
entitled.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
sloughing off. That Emilia could be with any man in the world, and I know that. And I know I'm the best choice, but I'm earning that every day. I'm not just saying it.
It's not by default. It's not just because
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
enough.
yeah. Yeah, because
Like,
I'm
well, I'm
the
Alan.
man.
I'm Alan Lazarus. Like, well,
Did
yeah,
you know?
no, you are.
Did you
But-
know that I was Alan Lazarus?
But it doesn't mean you can be a dingo. You got to be a
yeah.
good, you gotta be a good, heart-driven, morally driven man, ethically
Yeah.
driven man.
Got to.
Cool. You never know where Freestyle Friday is going to go. That's the beauty of Freestyle Friday. This would be my question. This would be my wrap-up. And again, please do not villainize me for this. Please, 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 because it's a
If you're
great
gonna,
question.
make sure it's Kev.
Make sure it's Alan, because Alan gave me the idea. He didn't, but we'll pretend he did. Would you want somebody that you care about deeply to date someone like you're dating? That's one question. I usually say, if you have children, would you want your children to date someone like your partner? Would you be excited for them? / would you want someone that you care about deeply, taking yourself out of it, to date someone like you? So would I want Matt to date someone like Taryn? Absolutely. 0 questions asked. Would I want Matt to date someone like me? Absolutely. 0 questions asked. I think that's a really good question. Weird, because you might be dating your best friend, or one of your best friends might be dating your partner in this analogy. Strange, but that's not what it's about. Alan would if Alan was with Taryn, I'd be over the moon. I'd kill him for sure. I'd track you down and kill you.
I guarantee the team is gonna reach out laughing hysterically about that.
But I would be over the moon. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're with a good person. And would Taryn be wonderful to you? Absolutely. 1,000%. Yeah. She'd probably think you're crazy because you work as much as you do. You work more than I do. But I think that's a good wrap up. How
It
would you
is a
wrap
good
up, sir,
frame.
before we get out of here?
Check in on the growth trajectory of you and your partner. And I don't mean growth in career. I mean growth in your own personal development. Personal development is personal, and your own inner personal development. It's one thing to achieve, but it's another to work on yourself. And honestly, achievement you can do without getting better. I've done it.
Yep.
You have to get better in certain things, so I don't want to contradict what I said earlier, but you don't have to. Put it this way, if you work on yourself in your personal development, that's going to make your marriage or your relationship way better than you achieving more goals. So you got to do the inner work is what I'm saying. Yeah, do the inner work.
All right. Next Level Nation, if you are interested in doing more of the inner work, we have a private Facebook group where we have questions. Amy asks questions almost every day. There's a lot of really good questions in there. Some of them are very deep. Other ones are not as deep, and they're easier to answer. But I think it's a great place to start. Also, if you are a podcaster, I just started Podcast Growth Nation.
Just got my invite.
It's exclusive. I'm going to be very, very picky as to who's in this group because I want everybody to feel safe. I don't want people promoting their shit all the time. That's not what this is about. I want a Facebook group for podcasters that I needed when I started. And that is my kind of the mission statement for that. So
I
if you're
almost
interested,
didn't even get an invite, so this is pretty exclusive.
I completely forgot about you. I invited 50 people, and it's weird.
CEO of the company.
You
Kid
should have
doesn't
been
even get an invite.
The first name on there, alphabetically, close to the first name. But I know you got enough stuff going on. That's the last thing you need is to be in another Facebook
No,
group,
I actually do want to be in there. Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
I'm grateful.
We'll see if I allow you. Kick you out.
I'll be sure to promote book club in there.
For bad, you better not promote book club in there. Nothing against book club. But we'll have the link in the show notes. Actually, for now, just reach out to me. And then let me get it up and running, and then I'll put the link in the show notes because I have to make sure that I have the approval where I can just reach out to me for now.
Sounds good.
Things are going swimmingly over here if you can't tell.
Yeah, for sure. If anyone
see
wants
my
to grow
light? You see my light flickering here?
Yes, I
now
do.
it's not going to flicker.
I do.
Freaking A.
We're a mess. And hey, we're out here leading by example. Take messy action, everyone.
Always.
All right.
Always.
Grow yourself, grow your podcast, grow your business. If you want help with metrics, strategy, habits, and identity work, reach out. Free breakthrough session. 30 minutes in the show notes. I'm not going to sell you anything. I'm just going to add as much value as humanly possible in those 30 minutes. I promise you we will break something loose and change the trajectory of your life forever.
Strong work. As
Sounds
always.
like hyperbole, but it's not. Sorry.
Sounds like hyperbole. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all hyperbole.
I wouldn't blame you if you don't reach out.